Rachel here with Yarn at Play Crochet with another in-depth yarn review for you. Today's in-depth yarn review is going to be of Favorite Magic, excuse me, from Ice Yarn. And as you can see, I have used quite a bit of this skein, but you can still see some of the pretty colors in there of this colorway. These come in packs of 4, but I think with different projects and stuff, I'm pretty sure this is my last one, so that's why it's looking a little depleted here. But you can still see some of those pretty colors in that yarn, just how it looks in the skein there. So let's go over some of the details of this yarn. It is a 100% acrylic yarn. It comes in a 100 gram skein, and you get 210 meters. That comes out to 229 yards per skein. And these, like I said, this does sell in packs of 4. And they recommend a 5mm needle. And I have used this, worked this up with anything from a 5mm crochet hook all the way up to a 6. It just kind of depends on your tension and how you work up with your yarn, so that it just varies a little bit. But those are kind of the size range that I would recommend sticking with. And I will go ahead and show you what this yarn looks like. Now, Ice Yarn does have regular Favorite, and then they have this Favorite Magic. And Favorite Magic is going to be the self-striping variegated yarn varieties that they have. And I'm pretty sure, I think I looked earlier today, and I think they have about 6 or 7 different colorways in this. And I'm pretty sure that they, as of today, which is the 12th of August, 2021, that they are all in stock at the moment, and they are all currently on sale. Ice Yarn is currently having a site-wide sale, so literally every yarn on Ice Yarn's website right now is on sale. So if you are an Ice Yarn person, you might want to go and check that out. So this is what that color variegation looks like worked up on my Addy knitting machine. I always kind of like to do a knitting machine sample since I've gotten it, because it kind of gives you a good view of how that color pattern kind of fades out. I really like the way that this looks. I think that it has more of a unique kind of random effect rather than just like solid stripes. There's a lot of variation in there, and you can see even on the top part where it's more of a solid color, there still is that color variation in the yarn. You can see how it kind of speckles all the way through, which I think is pretty. I kind of like the way that that looks personally. So that is how the colorway of this specific color looks. So let's go ahead and I will show you how this works up. Now, I am using a 5mm crochet hook here, but as I said, you can use all the way up to a 6, I think, and probably be just fine. So let me see if I can get a little closer so you can see here. Now, this I really enjoy working with. Favorite Magic is one of my favorite yarns from Ice Yarn that I have gotten so far. It feels really nice to work with. It's kind of one of those yarns that I genuinely enjoy the feel of while I'm working it up. It's very glidey and smooth on my hook. It has a really great twist to it, so splitting is not an issue with this at all. It's not a terribly fuzzy yarn, so it's not like you have, for me, I have eczema on my hands, so with really fuzzy yarns like Picasso, even though I really love that yarn, it kind of can feel a little uncomfortable to work with sometimes just because of my eczema. So I really like the way that this yarn feels while it is working up. And it's one of those yarns that once you get working with it, you can really kind of fly with, especially if you have a good crochet hook. I'm just using a tulip crochet hook here, which is my second favorite crochet hook. If you've seen my crochet hook review, I can link that up here for you if you want to take a look at that. But I really do enjoy working with tulip hooks, which if you didn't know and you're a tulip hook fan, Ice Yarn also does have tulip hooks available for sale on their website. These gold and gray handled ones, I want to say, are $3.99. And then the rose Atimos, because they're both Atimos. So this is an Atimo, a regular one. This one's $3.99 per hook. And I think the rose Atimos are $4.99 per hook. So normally these hooks go for over $12 a hook. on Amazon's website. So really good deal there. Sorry, that was a bit of an aside, but I figure, hey, if everything's on sale, their hooks might be on sale right now too. So that's how it works up. This is one of, yeah, like I said, this is one of those yarns that I just really enjoy the feel of working with, and we'll see how it pulls back here. No surprise, it's a good acrylic yarn. It doesn't have any snagging issues, and since it's not fuzzy, it does not snag on itself, and it'll rip out really well. So if you are a pattern designer like I am, where you're always kind of ripping back and trying it again to make sure that everything is working correctly, this is a really great yarn to work with for those patterns because it is easy to rip back and try something different. So I really like it for that reason as well. As far as softness goes, this is definitely a nice soft yarn. You can see, hopefully on camera it's coming across, it does have a smidge of a shine to it, but it's not like crazy shiny. It just has a little bit of a shine to it. It feels very soft worked up as knit, and it feels very soft worked up as crochet as well. It's nice and squishy. Overall, it's a great 4-weight yarn to work with. So let me show you my amigurumi ball here, so you can take a look at that and see how that worked up. I thought this worked up really fun, kind of as an amigurumi ball. You can see that color variation in there. It was very nice to work with amigurumi style, which didn't surprise me at all since I enjoyed it so much working up just regular crochet, that it worked up nice amigurumi style as well. But it looks really pretty, I think, in those tight little stitches, and it has good spring to it for this. It feels soft and squishy, and I just think that it looks really nice. So if you had a specific project in mind that you were looking for a variegated yarn and the colorways are speaking to you, this might be a great option for you. So that is my little amigurumi swatch here. And then the real test is how did it hold up in the wash, which is always the real test of things. And I will show you that here. Now this held up reasonably well. Like I just literally pulled this out of the dryer before I recorded this video. Hold on one second. Let me grab something so you can see it up against the black background. Okay, so you can see that there's definitely fuzzing that happened in the dryer. Now, I say this in all my in-depth yarn reviews that I don't have an option to do a cool dry on my dryer at all. It's an old dryer and hot is the only temperature that it offers me. So I think that those fibers are fuzzing a bit just because of that hot dry that I have to do with my dryer. But as far as the yarn goes overall, that fuzzing isn't like super dramatic to me. Like it looks fuzzy on the edges, but as far as in the middle of the piece here, it does not look any different to me. Like those stitches still look lovely, and it's nice and floppy. It softened it up a little bit, but it's interesting because it's not as stiff as how like the stitches kind of lay. Like it's floppier since coming out of the wash, but I wouldn't say as far as softness goes, like feel in the hand, I wouldn't say it's any softer. Let me compare the two. Yeah, I would say that the pre-washed swatch is softer than the washed swatch. That isn't to say that this is rough or scratchy. It's not, but it's just not quite as silky soft as this is. Because this yarn really does have almost kind of a silky feel to it. And after you do a hot wash and hot dry, it just loses a bit of that silky feel. So I think that if you were to wash this in a garment bag, on gentle, cool cycle, or cool temperature water, I think that it would do great. And then if you wanted to test a swatch to see how it did in your dryer, you could. I would not be afraid of throwing this in the dryer, but if you really want to keep it looking absolutely pristine, perfect, and avoid some of that fuzzing on the edges, then you just lay flat to dry. But I personally am a type of person who wants to just throw my work in the dryer. I want those hardy wash and go yarns, and so for me I would still probably just wash and dry this like normal. I would do a colder temperature than I did with my hot wash this time around, and I'd put it in a garment bag, but as far as throwing it in the dryer, I would probably throw it in the dryer again. But because the stitches, they do, like the color hasn't lost any of its color fastness at all. And it has a nice kind of floppy, cozy feel to it. And those stitches have held up really well. And even though there's a bit of fuzzing on the edges, there's zero pills. Like I don't see any pilling at all here. I just see a little bit of that fuzzing, and then the fibers, the stitches have expanded a little bit. You can kind of see how that looks. So these stitches are just spaced out a little bit more, which is interesting to me because I worked this up with a 5mm crochet hook. I worked this up with a 5.5mm crochet hook, but these stitches look closer together, and that's just because the yarn fibers have expanded a little bit and kind of filled in some of those gaps. So that is something to keep in mind too. This will fill out after you wash it. So like I said, you shouldn't be afraid to use a 5.5 or a 6mm crochet hook. I don't think it's going to look too holey or gapey. I think that you could use either of those just fine. And that kind of swatch too gives you the difference in how that color pattern works up between being crocheted in a granny square or being crocheted in a straight edge, or how the knit variegation kind of lays out. So that is how all of that works up. Would I buy this again? 100%. I really like this yarn. This is probably one of my favorite yarns on Ice Yarn's website, which is probably why they called it favorite. I've never actually, I haven't gotten any of the favorite solids yet, but just from the way that this favorite magic has worked up for me, this is one of those yarns that I would just keep in stock on my shelf and grab and go for all the time. And side note, not all yarns are created equal when it comes to a knitting machine. My knitting machine likes some better than others, and my knitting machine really, really loves this yarn. So this is definitely one that would be great to get in this variegated style, which is the favorite magic, or just plain favorite in the solid colors. This would be a great staple yarn to keep stocked on your shelves to grab for whenever you just want something that's squishy and cozy in a nice 4-weight acrylic yarn that'll be hardy and last for a good long time. So I will put the price breakdown for you right up here on the screen as well. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I always take what it would look like in your cart for a single pack plus shipping, and then I break that down to what the cost per skein would be, because shipping on Ice Yarn's website can be kind of scary because it is shipping from Turkey, and so the shipping rates are kind of high. But I have found that when you take the total that you're paying for the yarn plus the cost of shipping and then divide that number by however many skeins you're getting in your order, it usually comes out to be in that $2 to $250 per skein range, which is a steal when you consider that you can get some hand-dyed merino wools and stuff like that, and it still breaks down to those really great low prices. So don't let the shipping scare you off. Just think that you're getting quite a lot of quantity, and the quality, at least for this one, is definitely worth the money all day long for me. So I hope that that was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed this yarn review. If you did and you found this content helpful, go ahead and give this video a like for me. That really goes a very long way in making more people see this content so more people can have access to this very thorough information. I always try and think of everything that I would want to see in a yarn review and try and get all of that into one of these. And if you are wanting to see all the different colorways that they have available in this, definitely check the links in the description box below. I am an Ice Yarn affiliate, full disclosure, so I do get a small commission if you were to place an order through Ice Yarn's website. But I am not at all trying to sell you this yarn. I just want you to have the best information possible, especially with Ice Yarn as a company, since you cannot go to a store and grab it and touch it and feel it before you place an order. So I hope that that was helpful for you. If you want to see more in-depth yarn reviews like this, go ahead and subscribe to my page. I try to do at least one of these a week, if not more if I'm able to. And if you are on Facebook, go ahead and join the Yarn at Play Crochet crew. I will link that in the box below as well, so that you can show me what projects you're working on and we can just chat and get to know each other better. I really love being able to see what you're working on and what gets you excited about yarn. So I will go ahead and leave it there. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.